So just want to learn more about, you know, physical education and because people go to school, kids go to school, and we know it's important, but we just don't know the details of its importance. So why do you think physical education is important in school, but why is it important for homeschoolers, you think?
Yeah, so I'll take the first question and kind of peel back physical education. Physical education has this opportunity to be really vast. The what it touches on as far as different types of health. Yes, it's physical health. And even if we were to just stay there, and we'll just get into that, maybe that's a question I can give to you, but it hits on the physical part of a person, the mental, emotional, so kind of the soul, mind, will, emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It helps with social skills and being able to cooperate and also be competitive. So there's a lot of games that we do in physical education that are both working together and then also working against another group. But how do you do that in obviously a cordial, civil way? So it hits on every aspect of health. Why I think specifically getting into homeschool PE is what I've noticed a lot when I'm talking to different families is that there's this idea that physical education is something that they check off of a box, where they're doing physical education, they're maybe going on a hike. And I just want to be super clear, this is not like a judgment thing for kind of what I've heard, or they go outside. The beauty is physical education doesn't need to be extremely hard. You can do it with just about anywhere that you're at, with any budget, but it does need to be structured. PE is not recess. Going out and exercising is not necessarily all of what PE has. Going on a hike is not what all physical education encompasses. It's very similar to saying that PE is the equivalent. Going on a hike is PE is like the equivalent to go and read an article on ESPN, and that's your English class. It is reading. You could make even an assignment on that, but you would have to put some effort into it. And so what I've seen, not just in the public sector of school, but even talking to homeschool families, is physical education is always, for the most part, stereotype, kind of looked at as a secondary, not important content. Public school, just roll some equipment out, make sure kids, don't get in a fight. In homeschool, it's just make sure that they go outside. And so oftentimes it can be looked at as something that is less than or not as important. I don't think any of the subjects, if you will, need to necessarily compare each other one to another: music, English, science, whatever it is. In fact, I kind of look at it differently. I believe that physical education has a power to influence every aspect of learning. And once you get into that mindset, I believe others can do that as well. But let's just take the physical piece of physical education. It's shown to help with cognitive function. So if you have a student that even wants to have a better understanding of something, I would advocate for physical education, or even just some form of that. Maybe they go back to it later in the day in a different capacity, but just to get, you know, your brain firing. There's a lot of science to show a warm-up, a workout, something quick and structured could really benefit whatever they're wanting to accomplish that day in homeschool. So
what did you push, Antonia? Okay, just don't touch anything, okay? Gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense. What tips do you have for parents that have a hard time making time for PE during their day? Like, what are some practical tips that could help them?
well, I would start. I would start with what do they feel confident in. I think first off, it's really easy to look at, again, like I mentioned, physical education is so vast. It can be, and it should be, but it could be everything from exercise, strength and conditioning, all these different subjects. But I think the main thing that can get parents struggling to even start is they look at the whole picture. What are you good at? What do you know? And it doesn't have to be a very long period of time at first. It could even be just consistency of like 5 minutes, and getting students, getting their kids, maybe they're not their kids, but like a cohort, getting the students understanding that any activity and any movement is better than no movement. And that you don't have to be this strength and conditioning coach or a trainer to be able to just get them moving. That was something that was taught to me, is don't talk a lot, as we're talking a lot in this kind of interview. Don't talk a lot, get them going, get them moving, and then you can go through and critique whatever needs to be critiqued. But the main thing is getting them to move. Know what are your strengths, and if you don't have it, that's part of what I'm trying to encourage and supplement and help with homeschool families, is to give them that structure. But if they were to never use me, I still want them to be able to have the capacity, and maybe it's 5 minutes. The other thing I'll say to that is every student is different. So maybe Johnny needs 5 different breaks of exercise, and physical education is for him to get up and move. And it's not necessarily a sit down and do physical education for 90 minutes. Maybe it's I'm doing math and I just need to get the wiggles out. And that can help with a student who just needs to move. Students that maybe have the capacity to sit a little bit longer, that are older, maybe you're building that in, and you learn your student. Maybe they need that in the beginning of the day. Maybe they need that in the middle, or maybe they need that at the end of their day. I don't know if that answers that question, but
yeah, definitely. I guess I'm curious about your program. What can you just describe it a little bit?
Yeah, so the program is getting students to be able to exercise and have confidence, not only in this first class or course that I've created is for students that I'm assuming they don't know anything about exercise, but also still catering to students who maybe have been in a public school system and now they're starting homeschool, or they've always been in homeschool, but they know how to do the push-ups, but now we're just making sure that they are always doing these exercises that they're doing the rest of their life. Push-ups, squats, things that are really lifelong exercises, that they're doing them correctly, that they're doing them well. And I'm trying to allow parents to, not that they don't know how to do this, they could do it with their kids. They could come alongside them. But I actually want to serve moms and dads in an ability to have another voice, allow a parent to be on the side. I want them to be a part of this, but also I want them to have a break of some capacity. You know, full transparency, I want them to see everything that we're doing in these videos. I want them to learn from me, but I actually want, instead of teaching the parent, I want to be able to teach their kids and allow them, if they need to just breathe and take a break, I want to be able to do that. If they want to learn from me, but still teaching their kid, I want them to be able to have that as well. Sometimes a new voice can be nice for a student, not to say that parents are they are the authority, and they are they chose homeschool because they want to be the voice in their home and not allow teachers to be teaching their kids from whatever 8 to 3 o'clock. I believe parents need to be the teachers, but just to give parents, especially moms, just they do such an amazing job giving them a break. And also encouraging their kids. All of this is a jumping off point to their other studies, whatever they're learning. Part of what they'll learn is SMART goals, how to write a SMART goal, how to implement a SMART goal. Mindset is one that I'm a real big firm believer on. A lot of these things that you might not necessarily see in a lot of PE courses, learning the mental aspect of really just being a person, but being able to look at PE, look at challenges, looking at the way that you think, the way that you speak words over yourself, the power of your words, all of that. I believe, especially being a coach at the high school level, being an athlete myself, the power of our words are super important, the way that we think. And I think sometimes that's what trips up students to even participate in physical activity or to start playing something. Maybe they don't feel like they have a lot of confidence in something because up here they've already told themselves, I can't. So growth mindset's a big part of that. But this course specifically is just the basics of really being able to do exercises without equipment in a stationary area so that everybody, it doesn't matter the situation, can participate. If it's raining outside, if they don't have the gym membership or the space to be able to just take all of those circumstances, I almost said excuses, sometimes they can be those variables, taking them out of the equation so that kids are going to be able to exercise and just see and reap the benefits of what they're doing. So
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds